For Minneapolis mayor, I am going to be endorsing, not so fast. I've been doing this podcast for the last few weeks, and in that podcast I've gotten to talk to all the candidates. And as a result, in the comments, people have started to ask, are you going to endorse a candidate? But before we get to that, I kind of see my role as being one of education, to tell people about who's running in this race. So if you haven't been following along, here's who it is. Mayor Jacob Frey has led the city since 2017 when he was elected as a city councilor. And in the first 2 terms, he saw the city through some really consequential periods, from George Floyd's murder and the civil unrest that followed to the Annunciation school shooting. He's seeking his 3rd and what he says is final term. Ironically, he's running against someone who's from his part of the world. He grew up in Virginia with Omar Fateh just 10 miles away. Omar Fateh is a state senator who has overseen some pretty consequential pieces of legislation in the Senate, including the Uber and Lyft bill. Reverend Dwayne Davis, on the other hand, has led a congregation in Plymouth. He's also worked out of DC as a lobbyist and is a black gay man, bringing a unique identity to the race. And then we have Jazz Hampton. Jazz Hampton is not a politician, but rather an attorney and an entrepreneur who started the Turn Signal app. These are the 4 men that I'm focusing on today because they're widely considered to be the most viable candidates. The most important thing to understand is that this is a ranked choice election, and so the way you vote needs to be different. It's not a matter of the lesser of 2 evils. You truly get to think, what candidate best represents your views? Pick that candidate, rank them number 1, and then you can pick your 2nd and your 3rd choice as well. In real terms, what this means is that on election night, they will tabulate which candidate got the most number 1s. And if any one candidate gets more than 50%, well, they become mayor. But if not, the last place candidate is eliminated, and all the people who voted for that last place candidate, their votes are reordered and redistributed to their 2nd choice. This makes it so that we have a candidate that is more representative of our whole city, and it's very important that we do our ranked choice correctly. And so my primary endorsement in this race is just to remember, this is a ranked choice vote. You gotta vote like it. So who am I gonna be putting as number 1 on my ballot? Is it going to be Jacob Frey? For me, the answer is no. Ronald Reagan famously asked the American people, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? You have to hold the executive accountable for the state the city is in right now. And I think that even people on Mayor Frey's team would agree the city has a remarkable number of challenges. Mayor Frey's most proud achievements, as he says it himself, is standing up to the protesters and saying no, he will not defund the police. And he was vindicated by that. He was in line with popular opinion here in the city. But he also missed an opportunity. This is a guy who had the eyes of the nation, the world on him, and he could have been a transformational, generational leader in that moment. But instead, he went back to becoming quarterback of one side of a faction that has been running in City Hall. This is a city that needs unity, and I don't think that he is the candidate to deliver. And then we have Omar Fateh, a man with a lot of accomplishments. In the state Senate, he passed the Uber and Lyft bill. He made university more accessible to more people, and that's exciting. But to make that omelet, he had to crack a few eggs. And some of the ways that he did that left a lot of people upset. For example, in the final hours of the legislative session, one of his bills wasn't going to make it through. And so he withheld his presence. He simply disappeared from the Senate until the party agreed to make his bill go through. I'm sure if he were here, you could ask him to talk about the fact that this is the way that politics works. But to me, it seems uniquely unsuited for what Minneapolis needs right now. It's a city that's been divided, factionalized for years. And now we need someone more in the silhouette of R.T. Ryback, a man who won with 70% of the votes. Omar Fateh is not that man. So who is? I've been doing a lot of reflecting about this. I'm not taking this lightly. I realize a lot of people watch this channel for information, but I also think that endorsements are a key part of being in the media. And having talked to a lot of these candidates and reflected on what the city needs, I think the answer is Jazz Hampton. Jazz is a guy who is an attorney. He also started a startup after Philando Castile was killed to try to make pullovers by police more safe. His Turn Signal app makes it so that when you're pulled over, you push a button and an attorney is contacted and it records the interaction.
Well, its founders call it an app to bridge the gap.
The city needs someone who is a bridge builder, not just a person representing a faction on the council. And that's why he's gonna get my vote. Whoever you vote for, November 4th is the election day. Make sure to vote and make sure to rank that vote.